The Jeep Wagoneer came back in 2022, and the GMC Yukon XL has long been the best-selling SUV out there. And now with Jeep adding the new L version to their Wagoneer, is this new Jeep Wagoneer L Series 3 good enough to outdo the GMC Yukon XL AT4? That's what we're about to find out right now. Starting with the styling, as you can see, the Wagoneer L has a very stylish and blingy design for the Series 3 model. We have the signature 7-slot grille design with a little bit more chrome than usual and fully LED headlights. The Yukon has a little bit darker chrome that has a GMC badge right in the middle, and it just has a couple lines through it, and it is fully functional. The Yukon will also have fully LED headlights and fog lights like the Wagoneer. However, the Yukon down below does have red tow hooks and a skid plate, which the Wagoneer does not have on the top Series 3 model, so that will be 0.5 points to the Yukon XL. Coming to the wheels, we have 20-inch alloy wheels on both models with a split spoke design. However, the Yukon XL does include off-road all-terrain tires for better grip in the snow and mud. Another 0.5 points to the Yukon. Coming to the side profile, starting with the Yukon, we have a little bit of badging, fully loaded mirrors with heating, blind spot monitoring, auto dimming, and power folding, which will be an advantage over the Jeep because the Jeep does not, for whatever reason, have power folding, which makes no sense for $84,000, and the Yukon does have power running boards, which is only optional on the Jeep. Both SUVs will have blacked out surrounds on the windows, and I like how the Jeep does that individually for the windows.
And now coming to the back of the Grand Wagoneer, as you can see, very sharp and bold design.
Starting with
gloss
the
black
Wagoneer, we
at
have
the
a
bottom
gloss black
and
trim
in some
at
other
the
places
bottom.
too. You will notice
We
here that you do not have a bunch of gloss blacks smeared everywhere like you do in the Grand Wagoneer around the license plate area.
The fully LED taillights and the giant Wagoneer badge right above the two taillights. Now for the Yukon, as you can see, it's basically the same. We have a tow hitch at the bottom, and the Yukon also definitely gets an extra 0.5 points for having the wiper hidden under the spoiler, which looks really neat. And they both will also have the ability to pop the rear glass without opening the trunk. And also both will include fully LED taillights, just a little bit different design on both of them. Now coming up to the interior, Smart Entry is very easy on both cars, and they both have high quality key fobs that include remote start and the ability to pop the tailgate from the key. So with the GMC, you have to push the button to actually unlock it, unlike the Jeep where you have a sensor. And taking a look at the door panel, we have a pretty high quality one with a little bit of leather at the top, some nice carbon fiber accents, and some yellow contrast stitching, and the perforated leather and normal leather on the armrest is very nice. You also have a ton of storage down below. Also, let's move on to the Wagoneer L. So this is by far the more luxurious of the two, with like a ton of leather. And look at this door panel, real open pour wood trim, leather at the top, and a lot more leather down here. The Yukon will have a little bit more storage in the door panel, however, that is very minor and we will not count that in. Now, getting in to both of them are basically the same because they both will have running boards. However, the Yukon has the power running boards, and both will have leather seats, with the Wagoneer having the adjustment advantage. Now, both will have nicely leather wrapped steering wheels with nice accents and heating capabilities. And they will also have fully digital gauge clusters with plenty of customization. Now moving on to materials, the GMC will have acceptable materials, but it is not good enough to outdo the Wagoneer L, which has exceptional materials for $84,000. The Yukon will have nice leatherettes on the dash with yellow contrast stitching, a little bit of gloss black here and there, some more matte black plastic, and that's basically it for this Yukon. This Wagoneer L Series 3 just blows the Yukon XL out of the water with open pore wood trim, gloss black, and a lot of leather that runs throughout the cabin, just making this a very nice place to spend time on long road trips and just times where you just need to hang out in the car if the kids are at the soccer game or something like that. And it also makes a lot better use of its space in the storage area where you have a really deep center console and 2 cup holders and a ton of storage area that turns into a wireless charger if you power it on. Now, I will say that the wireless charger in the GMC is not really good because no matter what phone, what case you have, you always will have to take off the case, which is kind of annoying, especially if you have a very heavy duty case that is not easy to take off and on. Now moving on to the infotainment systems, this is a very important part of this car because that would basically be all of the navigation and a lot of space taken up, so this better be good. We have an Android-based infotainment system in the Yukon XL with both having wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with a Google Assistant. You can also pair your phone with these two and more than one device, such as other phones and tablets. And, well, the Jeep just has a better infotainment system. It is more intuitive. It is just faster, and the CarPlay on that just was better in every way. So the infotainment point is going to the Jeep with the new Uconnect 5 system working very well. Both will also have physical and digital climate controls with your choice, and they are very intuitive and easy to use with little toggles on the Jeep Wagoneer and a little knob on the Yukon. Now moving on to the cameras, these are a very important element with humongous SUVs like this, and I'm very happy to say that both will offer very high resolution 360-degree backup cameras with a ton of different views, and the view award will go to the Yukon because it has an insane amount of views like the wheels and the back wheels and the trailer hitch, which is absolutely insane. The second and third rows, one of the most important parts of a large SUV like this, besides the cargo area, because you need to have a lot of space to haul around the football team, haul around the family with all of the extra stuff. And, well, both of these do it extremely well. We have extraordinary materials on the Wagoneer L and a ton of storage down below, surprisingly, even though the Yukon had the slight edge in the front. You also have sunshades on the Wagoneer, which for some strange reason you do not have on the Yukon XL, which is makes no sense because you can get that on a $40,000 Kia Telluride and not on a $70,000 GMC. In the Wagoneer L, starting here, we have a lot of legroom, a handle, a seat back pocket, heated rear seats, and seats that will slide and recline. Now you also will have physical climate controls in both and just a single zone. So with the Yukon, it's basically the same. You have climate controls, 3 stages of heated seats, and a couple USB ports, but the special thing is that the Yukon XL has a rear seat and entertainment system, which is actually good compared to not having anything in the Wagoneer. That makes no sense that it's an option because we had it in the Grand Wagoneer, and that seemed to be a really good infotainment system. We have in the Yukon Hulu, YouTube, and YouTube Kids, and I just found the really old version of my YouTube channel that you cannot check out anymore because it's changed. And that was when I had 47 subscribers, and I just want to thank you all so much for hitting over 300 subscribers, which is absolutely amazing to me. And we also have headphones so that the driver does not get distracted, and still a ton of room, basically the same as the Jeep Wagoneer. The third row is not always the most spacious place, and I've been in many cars and I've seen many third rows comfortable and basically nothing. in the third row. And thankfully, both of these cars make it extremely easy to get into the third row, with the Wagoneer having the slight edge just by pushing the button, but the Yukon having the edge with accessibility because the seat goes a little bit more forward, so it's going to be even. However, the Wagoneer doesn't have just a slight edge, it has a huge edge when it comes to third row space. Just look at all the space I have, and this is an absolute insane amount compared to the Yukon XL, which isn't bad, but could do a lot better for how big it is. The Wagoneer will also provide a lot more creature comforts, like the thigh support in the Yukon XL is not bad, but it could be better. And look, you have 4 USB ports in the back of this Wagoneer, a nice armrest, and just a lot more storage space than what you get in the Yukon XL. And the overall quality of everything and just the way they laid it out is a lot better. However, I will show you the Yukon just to make it fair, and so you guys can judge what do you think you would do. So here we are in the Yukon. Really sorry about the lighting. This was not an okay time to film a car, but we just don't have the niceties that you have in the Wagoneer. Just don't have as much space. The Yukon has plenty of space, believe me guys, but we just don't have like the ability to recline the seat from the third row. You just don't have the nice padded armrest, that those extra USB ports. The overall point is to the Wagoneer. So when you have a large family SUV like this, you are most likely going to be hauling around a lot of people, and that means a lot of stuff. And you're going to need a giant trunk for that if you're going to have a big car. And luckily, with the Wagoneer, you can open it by slipping your foot under there, unlike the GMC. And look at the amount of space that is in the Wagoneer. 44 cubic feet of cargo space, which is just out of this world compared to what we have in the Yukon and basically any minivan. This Wagoneer has a bigger trunk than any minivan, believe it or not. Even the Kia Carnival with this 40 cubic foot cargo floor. You can on both fold the seats down, and of course you can fold it right back up. Same with the second row, except not up. You also have a nice power supply. Now, when it comes to a good and reliable powertrain, you want it to last for a long time, and that's what the Yukon delivers. This has the original 6.2-liter naturally aspirated V8, and I probably don't even have to tell you guys that it has 420 horsepower and 460 pound-feet of torque paired to the 10-speed automatic transmission, because that has been in everything from the Sierra to this and a couple other cars that we're not going to get into detail right now. But this is a very good and reliable powertrain, whereas the Wagoneer, it just got a brand new engine, and Jeep is not known for being reliable at all. And this has the new 3-liter Hurricane inline 6. So this has a little bit more horsepower than you would in, let's say, the normal Wagoneer, but it does not have as much power as you would get in the Grand Wagoneer. You're looking at just under 500 horsepower, which is better and technically faster than the Yukon. However, you could get a lot more power if you go for the more expensive Grand Wagoneer.
This Jeep Wagoneer L tacks on another 15 inches from the Grand Wagoneer and the normal Wagoneer. At 230 inches long, I am super happy with my time today with this Jeep Wagoneer L Series 3. This is a great car, and I'm very happy to see an alternative to the $110,000 Jeep Grand Wagoneer.
This is going to wrap up.
This is a great choice in 2023.
Thank you so much for watching this video.
But you comment down below, what would you get? Would you get this, the Suburban, Yukon XL, or Expedition Max? You comment your thoughts down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.
I'll see you next time.